Well, hi there and welcome to Bella's Vistas. I'm Mike. I've been an Olympus photographer since the early 70s, 1972 I think, with the original OM-1. I'm using the new OM-1 now. Spend most of my time focusing on things like the stars or cityscapes, wildlife, sneaking up on grizzly bears or maybe bison. I did have a little chance once to, when they opened the stadium in Hamilton, I got to photograph some football. I had a field pass. That was just amazing. Now, I had heard that the OM-1 was rubbish for sports photography, and I had the opportunity to photograph some boxing, met some wonderful people, and saw some great work. I used a bunch of different exposures and settings which I documented so you can see how the camera worked for me. This was my very first time ever photographing boxing, so I had no idea how it would work. I tried different settings and I was quite impressed with the way the OM-1 worked. So that's up to you to see what you think. So let's come on along and see what you think.
Well, this event was quite challenging for me. I was sitting right ringside. I didn't have a fancy seat or anything, but the lighting kept changing. Here we're at a really high ISO, low light situation with light coming in from behind. Look, 4000 ISO and spotlight shining at me. Camera still focused really well. I'm really impressed with the way this behaved. There was lots of action. Sometimes they were moving really close to me and sometimes really far away. I could never really decide which lens to use, the 12-40 or the 40-150. Look at the focusing though, I'm really impressed. Sometimes I was using face detection, sometimes I was just using continuous autofocus on a spot with no subject detection at all, but I'm quite happy with the results. I used about 1/100th of a second most of the time and down one stop. Look at this really low light. Camera focused very well. 12,800 ISO. Amazing. I'm impressed. I'd heard that the camera wasn't much use for sporting events. I haven't got to try it at a football game or anything like that yet. I've only had the camera for about 6 months. Before that I was using the E5. I photographed the football teams with the E5. Anyway, I'm really happy with the results that I got. These people are all great too. Look at their 3200 ISO, 100th of a second, pretty sharp. And there's motion happening too. I could have used a higher shutter speed. Suppose I could have taken the ISO up higher. I was just experimenting. Here there's nothing really sharp, but it's because of motion. Here maybe which face is it trying to focus on, I'm not sure. I think the highest contrast part of the image is what it focuses on. Now the ISO is going up again here because of the low light. 16,000 ISO and you still get a fairly acceptable result. Now, I'm sure my next event will do better, but look at here, we got the spotlight shining right in on me, focusing against the light, motion, high ISO, and it's working pretty well. Look how happy everybody is. I was impressed. I'm really impressed with the professionalism here. Really high ISO here. Like we got the colors a little muddy maybe, but 25,600 ISO. You got a usable result. I mean, more light, you get a better shot, absolutely. More of a chance to focus, but we're still at 4,000 ISO at f4. So now here, I don't know what we're actually focusing on. There's a problem there. bright light shining right into my eyes and we're still getting the images. I mean, I'm impressed. You'd think there'd be so much flare that you wouldn't see anything, but there isn't. It's like quite impressive, I think. And like I said, I can't remember what focusing technique I was using, because I varied that to see what was happening, and I thought I'd remember, but I don't, because things were moving pretty fast. Here, nothing's really in focus. Could be motion. It's hard to say. I think it was a motion problem, because this looks a lot sharper. I always try to shoot peak action at something like this, but that's pretty hard because everything keeps changing. I think the intensity of the moment comes across in these pictures pretty well. We're trying to capture a mood or something, I'm not sure just what, but it's definitely there. Again, the light's going way down here. Look at there, 1250 ISO. Still pretty sharp. I don't know if I did this again, if I'd use a higher shutter speed or a lower shutter speed, and shoot higher ISO. I don't know. Now that's a pretty impressive image, I think. Again, we've got really low light here. 1250 ISO. Pretty good shot, I think. Now the light's really way down. What's our ISO on this one? Let's see. 25,600 ISO. And you still got something resembling a picture. I mean, wow. If you stick with us to the end of the video, we're going to make a print. Show you what the print looks like. Everybody has a lot of fun, that's for sure. Really get into the spirit of things. Referees really watching. Yowzer, it's getting serious. He's keeping his eye on everybody, making sure that things are safe. .800 ISO, not too high of an ISO. Could have done a better job focusing there, I think. Once again, the spotlights are from behind. Camera's focusing perfectly. I think most of my problems came from motion more than out of focus. When there's enough light on things, you're in sharp focus. No problem. I made something like 1,700 exposures at this event, so we filtered a lot of them out. I got a pretty high success rate, I think. I don't know anything about boxing, but these guys do. They're doing a great job. Fantastic. It must take a lot of dedication, you know, working out and practicing and spending the time. Thousand ISO, hundredth of a second. Pretty much peak action in that shot. At this point I was using the fold-out back screen on the camera and a wider lens and shooting from a low angle. But here we're at 2500 ISO. Nice sharp image as far as I can see. The 100th of a second gives a good action, you know, when there's motion, but Perhaps I'd go to a higher shutter speed next time, I don't know. Got a good focus on this one, that's for sure. Maybe the backlighting is knocking the focus out on some of the shots. No, that's... the person on the left is dead sharp there.
It always seems to take forever for my print to come out. Standing here waiting patiently. It's coming out. It's quite a tight crop on this. It's a 17 by 24 inch print. It's cropped pretty tight. Still, it's not too bad considering. Well, now there's our finished print. It's a 17 by 24. It's a tight crop from a high ISO image, but I'm very happy with it. I'm going to laminate that. It's going to be great.